How's it going, everybody? My name is Trevor Hubbs with Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, here today with another book review. Today we are reviewing The Accidental Superpower, The Next Generation of American Preeminence and the Coming Global Disorder by Peter Zeihan. Peter, if you're listening, I mess up your name, man. I'm sorry. I've never heard it said. I've just seen it written. Z-E-I-H-A-N. Zeihan. Basically, this book talks about how the natural resources in the United States of America are so vast and so much better than so much of the world that we were always going to be a superpower. Like, basically, it's very difficult for us to mess this opportunity up. A couple examples of that would be like the barrier islands on the Atlantic coast. Like, these islands suck up so much like surf swell, waves, winds, that hurricanes here aren't as bad as they are in other countries. They're still devastating, but not nearly as devastating. Also talks about just the need for trade and import. Not even what's called luxuries. Let's just talk about food, right? So to feed every citizen in the United States 2,000 calories a day, we can grow that food or maintain that food, raise that food, ranch for that food in a landmass the size of Nebraska, Iowa, and Kansas, right? Like, not just in those states, like it'd be spread out all over, but we have so much land that we can feed all of our citizens without ever importing anything. Well, there's a lot of countries that don't have that ability. Germany, England, Ireland, they can't grow the amount of calories they need for their citizens in their country. They have to import. Then it gets into, let's talk about military strategy, to where because so many of these countries have to import, the ability to have protected shipping routes is a necessity. Now, much of the world depends on the United States and the United States Navy and military to protect those shipping routes. It's hard to imagine now, but there was a time in the early 1900s when that wasn't guaranteed. Germany couldn't just send a ship down to Africa to go pick up food, right? Like, without the risk of international piracy, without the risk of a British ship just taking it, right? Or a Japanese ship or whatever. That's part of the reason for some of the economic stressors of World War I and World War II is these European countries had to colonize places to get enough food, to get enough natural resources for their country. So after World War II, the United States, there's a treaty that I can't think of because I'm bad on camera, sorry. But they talk about it in the book. After World War II, the U.S. gets all these countries to sign this treaty saying they're not going to raise a military, and in exchange, the U.S. will protect all your international shipping needs, right? Which is great long-term strategy, because now we're at a point where take 50 years and of development, like, we could pull out of this treaty tomorrow, never protect another country's shipping lanes that we didn't want to. We could protect our shipping lanes, and again, we don't really have to have that many because we can produce so much with America's natural resources. But even if we had to go protect shipping lanes, or another country had to, like, it would take them 50 years for our near peers to raise a military strong enough to ever threaten the United States, because they haven't been building one for so long. It's one of the benefits of having an ultra-inflated defense budget like we have in the United States versus, say, England, France, Italy, any of these countries. Anyway, super interesting read. We're talking 30,000-foot views, global economy, and I think a pretty accurate prediction of what's going to happen if the U.S. were to pull out of this treaty, or, which I do think we will in my lifetime, because we're not getting the benefits out of it anymore, and we will continue to be a superpower without providing all these free services for the rest of the world. But that's for you to decide. Read the book, think about it. The Accidental Superpower, The Next Generation of American Preeminence and the Coming Global Disorder by Peter Zeihan. Wonderful book. It's a little long. It'll take you a few days to read, but go ahead and take a couple weeks. Really soak in every word, learn from it, think about it. It's thought-provoking. Thanks.